Okay. Let's see here. Alright, there we go. Whew, that took a little doing. Sorry it took so long getting live here. Oh, yep, I just messed up. Anyway, glad to be here. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is pouring rain outside right now. Little thunder happening. Yeah, so not sunny in Florida today, at least here. What's it say on there? Okay. Anyway. Need fire. Nice thing. One of the things that really blew my mind when I actually came to Florida the first time, it was during the summer, and it was one of the things most people don't know about Florida is that during the summer it rains almost every day, and if it doesn't rain, then usually that means something's wrong. It could be a light passing shower, which most of the times it is. I mean, you could be standing in rain and the sun's shining down on you, like, you know, it's pretty cool actually. And then other times it'll be massive thunderstorms that come rolling in off the Gulf and things like that, you know. And that's what's happening here right now. We got a line of storms coming in off the Gulf, which happens sometimes quite a bit in the summer. But it could rain like 2 inches and water standing everywhere. And then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you wouldn't be able to tell it rained at all. Because the thing is we live on a sandbar, and sand can only hold so much water all at once, and then it floods. But sand also drains the water away very quickly, as compared back up in Iowa where I live with the loam soil. It holds moisture, so it rains 2 inches up there, it's muddy for a week afterwards, you know, unless it gets real windy and the sun comes out right away, and it's a couple days like that, then it dries it out. But anyway, yeah, so, and it is really coming down out there too. I don't know how much we're supposed to get, but I guess we'll see. Let's see. Oh, that's not right. I gotta change that info on that. How do I change the info? Oh, there we go. Edit. Gotta change stuff here. Huh. category. Wrong category. I'll have to wait and do the thumbnail later. Okay, that'll do for now. Okay. Yeah, this software I'm using apparently doesn't update the information very well. Oh, let's turn some light on here since it's getting dark out. There we go. See if that's any better. Guess it really didn't make much difference one way or the other. But anyway, I don't know if you can hear the thunder and stuff out there, but it's really coming down. What is it? What is it when you count from the time you see the lightning strike to the time the thunder gets to you to tell how far away the lightning strike was? I forget you count so many seconds from the time you see the lightning to the time you hear the thunder, and that's supposed to tell you how far away it is from you. But yeah. So I hope everybody is having a great day. For those of you watching on Twitch and might watch this later after the broadcast is over on Twitch, I appreciate it. Please follow. I would appreciate it very much. Just starting this channel on Twitch, so I'm waiting to see how it goes and where it goes. And yeah, I'd appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. So, if you are having a smoke today, what are you having? If not, if you're not smoking, that's fine. No problem. I'm having what's called a ham bone. One of my subscribers on YouTube sent it to me to try out, and yeah, pretty good. Thanks, what now? I appreciate it, my friend. Good smoke, by the way. Hey, what now? How's it been? Thank you. Yeah, sorry I missed out on last Saturday. I wasn't feeling very well. I was having a bad day. Wasn't getting around very well, so I decided to skip the live stream. I should have sent a message out, you know, letting everybody know, but it just wasn't feeling very well Saturday, so. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm using a new software that I can stream to both Twitch and YouTube, because I have a cigar mic on Twitch also. It's not near as famous as my gaming Twitch, because on my gaming Twitch I actually get paid for people to watch my channel. So that's kind of cool. I'm not there yet on YouTube, but hopefully one of these days, you know what I mean? So how is your day going, my friend? Are you having a pretty good day? It is pouring rain here and thunderstorm. I don't know if you can hear it through the phone that I'm using to broadcast on. Yeah, that's all right. I understand. We all get busy in our days and our lives, and we gotta have priorities, you know. And if there's stuff more important than watching my stream, I understand completely. Believe me, I do. Ah, I'm happy to share with you. Yeah, it is pouring here. So, how does this look? Is the color good? Uh, Lighting good? Everything? Does it sound good? Can you hear me all right? I'm like I said, I've never used this software before, so I'm trying something new here. Oh, well, that's good. I appreciate you lurking my channel. That is awesome. Getting me with those watch hours. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Tanner's been doing the same thing. I have a little over 1,600 watch hours now. So I'm almost at 2,000 or 3,000. A little over halfway there. I got to get 4,000 to and 1,000 subscribers to actually get fully monetized, though. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to like this software. Ah. I got an upgrade from Tanner. Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, the generosity of that is just mind blowing. I cannot thank that young man enough. I mean, I, I'm beyond thankful for his generosity. I really am. I'm beyond thankful for your generosity, sending me cigars and pipe tobacco and stuff. I'm just, and people have sent me money and stuff to do this. I'm just beyond thankful for everybody's generosity and support. It has been very humbling, to say the least. To know that there are people out there that are willing to help out and, you know, help somebody do something that they love is just, I like I said, I can't thank you enough. You know, you have no idea how much I appreciate all of it. And I know there's a lot of people out there online that they get to the point where they have like thousands of followers and stuff, and they like forget about the people that actually got them there. And it's like, I can only say I hope I never become that way. Yeah, I hope I get a lot of followers, and yeah, I hope I start making a couple of bucks here and there doing this. But I hope I never get to the point where I forget it's the people that got me there. Because without the viewers, this is nothing. You know, without you guys watching and liking, sharing the videos, commenting, all that, this means nothing. And yeah, Tanner helping me out like that is just, I can't thank him enough for that. And it has been working out real good for streaming my games on both Twitch and YouTube. It has been really fantastic. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching since 2015. I didn't realize you'd been watching since then. I have one subscriber that his subscriptions are public. He lets people see who he's subscribed to, and he's been subscribed to me since 2012. Matter of fact, I chatted with him one day on a video, and he said he subscribed to me like, I don't know, 6 months after I started this channel, and he's been following me ever since. So it means a lot having people like you and him and others that have been following me for a long time. It really means a lot. It does. And I know there was a period of time there where I just stopped doing it. I got in that YouTube trap of where a lot of people who do YouTube, they think, oh, well, I'll do a few videos and I'll get famous and then I'll get rich doing YouTube. No, that's not how it works. YouTube is not set up like that. YouTube is set up for people who are willing to do the work and stay in it and stay for the long haul. That's why they have the criteria you have to meet to become monetized so high. They want people that's going to actually put out videos and stick with it. And I fell into that funk where I thought, nobody's watching my videos. I have very few subscribers. So I just quit making videos for a while. A long while. Actual long while. And then I got back on one day and it's like, oh wow, look at this. 400 subscribers. Where did I get all these subscribers? I haven't made a video in forever. But people like you, who just kept watching the videos that I had put out, and things like that, and other people watching them over the few years that I was gone, and it's like, I thought, well, maybe I can do something with this. I'll get back into it. And here I am now. Like I said, I know I'm not going to get rich doing this, and I have no intention of getting rich doing this, but I do it more because I love doing it, and I love interacting with people like you and the other viewers and stuff. I really do. So are you having a smoke right now? Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. I'm trying. I'm trying. A matter of fact, I had somebody suggest, Rocky Patel 1992. Good choice, my friend. Good choice. I'm smoking a ham bone. Thank you. I was saying I had somebody comment on one of my videos, and they suggested that, how I do the first, middle, and last part of a cigar. They suggested that in between those sections, I tell a little story, about something in my life or whatever. And I thought, that's a pretty good idea. I have told some stories on here. I'm sure you've heard them, about the green coffee beans and all that kind of stuff, But that's mainly just stuff that, I've never actually thought about just outright telling a story of something from my life, something, about a cigar or something like that. So I got to kick that idea around a little bit, and I think I really like that idea. But I got to be careful because I don't want to give away too much stuff, because some of it, the statute of limitations has not run out yet. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, yeah. Mainly the stories I would have would be from when I was a truck driver. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It is more engaging because it makes a connection, between the viewer and the person making the videos. It brings about a connection, I think. So that was a great idea. I'm really gonna think about that. Think about how I can incorporate that idea in my videos and stuff. But yeah, like I was saying, most of my stories would be like from when I was a truck driver, and then from when I was a kid growing up on a farm in southwest Iowa and stuff. And some of those stories, some of those stories I won't tell because of merely, I don't want to sound like I'm seeking sympathy or anything, but things were rough when I grew up. I had a bastard for a father-in-law, let's just say that. I mean, he was a bastard. Yeah, I will. Yeah, well, I can talk a lot too, trust me. Um, I can talk a lot. And I can talk a lot about nothing if I want to. I know. That's the other thing. Like you say, some people will like to hear my stories and other people just want to hear about Cigar and that's it. So, got to kind of find I got to kind of, like I said, I need to think about it and kind of find the equilibrium and, like you said, watch the analytics and see what happens. Because the analytics will tell everything. And yeah, the only thing that does worry me about it is I try and keep this channel politics and religion free. I don't want to go into politics. I don't want to go into religion because I used to own a bar and I had a rule on the door coming in. There were two things that were to never be discussed in the bar because it usually led to a fight, and that is politics and religion. So I've kind of carried that rule my whole life. Now, I am a political person. I have my political opinions, but they are my political opinions, and this is not the place to share them. So, this is something totally different from all that, and that's why I don't like to talk about politics or religion on this channel. And that's where some of the stories I tell, some people, and we know how some people are, they'll construe it as religious or political because they're looking for something to be mad about. You get what I mean. We've run across people like that all our lives. Me, I just want to have fun and chit chat. That's it. That's a good point. That is a real good point. You know, that is a real good point. I had never thought of that. If I could help somebody with something they went through or are going through, I would be there for them. So yeah, that's a real good point. That's one thing I've always loved to help people if I could. Can't always, but if I can, I try. Hey, Frugal, how's it going, my friend? Yes, I went to PA a lot actually when I drove a truck. A lot. Matter of fact, one company I drove for, I was pretty much running the I-80 corridor between Iowa and New York, Long Island and New York City, pretty religiously, at least 3 times a month, if not more. So yeah, I know Pennsylvania rather well. Matter of fact, one company I drove for has a terminal in New Kingstown, PA. Well, I drove for Creek Carrier, and they also own Schaefer Trucking, and Schaefer Trucking has a terminal in New Kingstown, PA. So I was there a lot also. And then Snyder, they have a terminal. Where is that terminal? I forget. But it's in Pennsylvania also. Can't remember exactly the town it's in. So yeah, I know PA. One of the things that blew my mind was, sorry, blew me. Yeah, I said that. One of the things that blew my mind was one time I was making a delivery in Punxsutawney, and I happened to get there like a day before the Punxsutawney Phil thing, when they do the groundhog thing. I got there February 1st. And they stuck me there for the next 3 days because they couldn't get a load out. Why they could not get a load from like Philly or someplace like that, haven't a clue. Anyway, I was stuck there for like 3 days. I loved it. It was great. And I got to see the celebration. And I mean, that is like a freaking county fair or carnival or something. I had a lot of fun there. That was awesome. And then and one of the things is the name of towns, like Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. That's an actual town. Look it up on the map. Yeah. Or Bumville, 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 Pennsylvania. Sometimes the names of towns just crack me up. You kind of wonder how people come up with the names, you know. You know, a lot of places are named after somebody or something, or, you know, a Native American name, you know. Yeah, Intercourse, PA, that's another one. I forgot about that one. I'm glad you brought it up. Intercourse, PA. Who the hell comes up with the name Intercourse for the name of a town? Seriously. It is what it is, though. Well, the storm's moved over. It's still sprinkling, but it's not thundering and carrying on like it was. Mute Hell and Climax, yep. Mute Hell and Climax, yep. Who the hell would name a town Climax? I mean, seriously. You got to think about some of these. It's like, what were they thinking? And then there's Colorado. There's Rifle, Colorado, Rifle. I mean, that's original. Rifle. Okay, why? I can't figure out why, but there it is. Yeah, there's a lot of towns, especially out east. You get out west, it's not so much because it's mostly named after Native Americans or place or something of a Hispanic origin, you know. But you go back east, and it's like some of the towns you're like, I don't get it. But it is what it is. And then the other thing that was always great about driving truck was, you know, I, I've been to 49 of the lower 48 states. My sister and I took my sister on a cruise a while back, quite a while back. I mean, been 10 years now. Because she had never been to Hawaii, and she always wanted to go to Hawaii. And at the time, I had quite a bit of money because I'd been saving up and, you know, sold some property and stuff. And I thought, you know what? My sister wants to go to Hawaii, so I'm going to take her to Hawaii. So I booked a cruise for us. And we took a cruise around the Hawaiian Islands. And she loved it. Where was I going with this story? God, old man brain is kicking in. Anyway, that put me at 49 states. That's where I was going. Because I'd already been to all the lower 48 states driving truck. And then I've been to 2 Canadian provinces, Quebec and Ontario. And I've been to 2 Mexican provinces. The one, I forget the name of it, right across the border from Texas. And then the one right across the border from Southern California. I'd been into those Mexican provinces. So, but that was back before 9/11, and when you could just pay 35 cents and walk across the border into Mexico, you know, back before all that. And then you could just go into Canada. I was driving truck, go into Canada, and just show them your driver's license, and away you go, you know. Well, we had to show our bill of lading and all that stuff, all the paperwork, you know, for what we was taking into Canada. And then, yes, I did bring Cuban cigars back from Canada. I did do that quite often. So I guess technically I'm a smuggler. But that was back in the mid-90s and late 90s, so the statute of limitations run out on those. Come get me, feds. Then, yes, I have brought Cuban cigars back from Mexico, too. And that was back in the late 90s, so come and get me, feds. Statute of limitations out on that also. But the thing of it is driving truck is very interesting. And it's very exhausting also. People think, oh, we're just sitting there holding the steering wheel. No, there's more to it than that. And it is exhausting driving a truck. But anyway, meeting the people was my favorite part of it. I like meeting new people from all around. You know, if I could go on a world tour to meet people, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd have my bag packed. I'd say, when are we leaving? You know, and seeing all the different country. But as we all know, there are some assholes out there, and yes, I am one too. I have been. I will admit to it freely. Well, that depends on your definition of good. I can tell some real stories about the truck stops. You know, which ones to avoid because of all the hookers pounding on the side of your truck all the time, wanting to know if you want any commercial company, or, you know, the ones that are a bastard to get into and park, and the customer service is absolute shite. You know, lots of that. But the main thing is with the hookers running around. Most truck drivers call them lot lizards. Horizontal highway hostess. You know, concrete sweetie. You know, there's all sorts of names for them. Sleeper Leaper. Girth of Birth. You know, there's all sorts of names for them. And yes, I'll tell you one thing. As far as we're talking about hookers, I stopped at a TA. Hey, Trevor, how's it going? Yeah, gotta love the lot lizards. L.A., I never went to a truck stop in L.A. Well, I take that back. I went to the TA in L.A., the TA truck stop. And they got some high security at that place. There's no lot lizards running around that one, let me tell you. They have security patrolling everywhere. Well, shit, man, I hope you feel better. Get well. But mostly when I went to LA, I was going to our terminal, our Snyder terminal there. Yeah, the TA. Yeah. That's one of the nicer TAs, too. I would say out of all the truck stops, my favorite was the Petro. And, you know, just like any other truck stop, it had bulk food, you know, but they had a buffet that usually had good food on it. So if you got a Petro close to you, go in there and have the buffet. It used to be, I don't know anymore, but it used to be good stuff. And the TA used to have pretty good buffets also. And the Flying J did too. But then Pilot bought out Flying J, and Flying J kind of went to shit after that. Well, not entirely, but they did cut a lot of corners. Pilot did. So the Flying J's kind of went to the wayside. I mean, they're still decent. They got good coffee, I'll give them that, and the Pilots have good coffee. It used to be every truck stop had shit coffee. I mean, crap. But then they realize that, you know, truck drivers actually like good coffee. Uh, I can't remember the name of the one in the Flying J's either. Allergies suck, man. Yeah, Pilot. The thing of it is with pilots, they've gotten a lot better than they used to be. They used to be, they would have tiny little parking lots because they wanted you to get in there, buy your fuel, spend your money, and get the F out so that somebody else could come in and buy their fuel, spend their money, and get the F out. They wanted the rotation. Whereas like TA, Petro, and Flying J, they had big parking lots where drivers could actually come in, park, get a meal, get a shower, and sleep. Get their sleeper berth time. Oh, way stops? Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Pilot changed their footprint a lot because, like I said, they used to be tiny, but they realized that drivers actually need space, and they're willing to spend more money if they can stay there. Yeah, my sister grew up with allergies, so I know what you mean about allergies. They were always kicking her ass. Yeah, I think Pilot finally realized what they were missing out on when they bought the Flying J's, and they were started making real money with the Flying J's. And they're like, oh, well, we got to change something here. We've been doing this wrong all these years. Never been to a Buc-ee's. Never in my entire life have I ever been to a Buc-ee's. First of all, Buc-ee's doesn't allow trucks in there unless you're making a delivery or a pickup. That's the only time trucks are allowed on their lots. So I've never been to a Buc-ee's. I hear they're fantastic. I hear they're a real tourist trap, but I've never been to one. Oh, yeah, I imagine there are around you. What now? Thing of it is it used to be that, you know, the little mom and pop truck stops were the place to go for food and everything else, but the big truck stops started realizing that they needed to stop treating drivers like crap to actually keep them coming in. Because all the little mom and pops were getting all the food business. I remember one time I was at a TA in Connecticut. I forget the name of the town. You could look it up on the TA app or TA website and find out. It's the one in Connecticut, right on I-95. I was in there. I'd been in there, got my fuel, got my shower, and I went into the restaurant to get something to eat, and they had a buffet. And this was on a Sunday, so they had a ham out there and a prime rib. You had your choice of ham or prime rib. Yeah, I'd actually like to go to a Buc-ee's sometime just to see it, just to say I've been to Buc-ee's. But anyway, as I was saying, that they had a ham and prime rib. I don't know. Have any of you ever heard the skateboarder joke? Uh, Wait, let me qualify that. Truckers call flatbedders skateboarders because, you know, their trailer is just a flat trailer. So it reminds us of skateboards. So a lot of times a truck driver will refer to someone who drives a truck pulling a flatbed a skateboarder. Okay, now that I got that out of the way. There's a joke, a running joke among truckers that the only time you can tell when a skateboarder has eaten is his fingers are clean. Because skateboarders are notoriously dirty because they're always wrestling with straps and always wrestling with tarps and all sorts of things. So they're notoriously dirty. I mean, I'm not saying they're dirty people, don't get me wrong. It's just that when they load or unload, they got to wrestle that tarp. They got to wrestle the straps, and they get dirty doing it. It's the job. So anyway, this guy come in, and you could tell that he'd either just loaded or unloaded. And he was dirty, which is understandable. He come in and he sat down. The waitress came over, took his order, went and got his drink, come back. Apparently he had the buffet. So he got up and he went up and he grabbed him a plate. And I mean, his hands were black with dirt, okay? And he went to the salad bar. He started putting stuff on his plate, you know. People do on a salad bar. Then he started taking the salad dressing, which they put little spoons in there to drizzle your salad dressing on. And he started actually tasting the salad dressing and then putting the spoon back in the container that held the salad dressing. Yuck. Okay, yuck. Then he figured out the salad dressing while he dressed his salad. Then he went and started tasting stuff from the buffet, like the corn. He would grab a scoop of corn, taste some of the corn, put the scoop back in the thing. Then when he decided he wanted ham, so the guy that normally stands there and cuts it for you, then he puts slices on your plate, he wasn't there that second. So the guy stood there like 30 seconds maybe at the most. Apparently he was impatient because he grabbed that ham with his dirty hand and he started cutting off slices and putting them on his plate. And I mean, that hand was filthy. And now it was all over that ham. So I told the waitress about it when she came over to refill my drink. I said, he did this, 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 and this. I said, you might want to replace those before, possibly somebody gets sick. And she's like, really? He did that? I go, yeah, he did. Because I sat here and watched him. So she went and had all of them replaced. And then, luckily, he didn't go up and get another plate. He just finished his meal, finished his drink, and left. But that is one of the grossest things I ever saw. Well, not one of the grossest things I've ever seen in a truck stop, but it was pretty bad. I could tell some grosser stories. Like one time, I went to a truck stop, and I went in to get a shower. And this was, I forget the name of it. What is it? A quick stop. KWIK stop or something, or Mart or something like that. Anyway, yeah, exactly. I was the same way. I got my fuel and I needed a shower. So because with drivers, it used to be, I don't know if it still is, I'm sure it is, when you bought at least 50 gallons of fuel, you got a free shower. Otherwise, the shower would cost you $10. But anyway, I put my fuel on, got my 50 gallons of fuel on, went in, got my free shower, and they assigned me to a shower. And I asked her, I said, "Are showers clean?" And they're like, "Yeah, we just cleaned them all." So I went in there, I went in the shower they assigned me, and I went in there, and I pulled the curtain back to get in the shower. And there was like clods of mud and clods of dirt in the floor of the shower. What the hell clods of dirt were doing in the shower, I have no idea. None. I don't even know how they got there. I don't know why they would be there. But it's like somebody went out to a cornfield, picked up clods of dirt, and then threw them on the floor of the shower. That's what it looked like. So I went and got the manager, and I said, "Hey, you need to come look at this." And she, sorry, I had to read something. So she come, and I showed her, and I said, I asked them if these showers are clean before I come back here, and they said there were. And she looked at it, and she's like, "Oh my God, that is horrible. I didn't realize." I go, "Yeah, I mean, this just happened." So she went to the guy that's supposed to be cleaning the showers. He was standing out back of the building smoking a cigarette. And she chewed his ass up one side and down the other. And he walked off the job. Just left. Up and left. Which, in my opinion, was no big loss. But then they had nobody to clean the showers, so they had to close the showers down. Which sucks because I didn't get my shower that day. I had to wait till the next day when I could put more fuel on. Yeah, a lot of screwed up crap like that I could tell you about. Yeah, I hope it was just dirt, honestly. But, it is what it is. I guess this Cigar Saturday live stream is going to be story time. Since that one person suggested I do stories on my videos. We spoke about hookers earlier. Here's a little story about a hooker. I was at a TA. I pulled into a TA for the night down in South Mississippi, right off of I-10. I went in. I don't drive trucks now, but I drove trucks for 20 years. I was over the road driver for 20 years. I drove trucks locally hauling grain for like 5 years before that in southwest Iowa. But as far as an OTR, about 20 years. So, yeah, I've been around a couple times. Been around the block a few times. But anyway, about this hooker, I pulled into this TA in South Mississippi, just off I-10. And I went in, got my meal, got my shower, I'd already backed into a spot. I was sitting out there doing my paperwork and stuff. And it was night. I think it was like 9 o'clock at night or something. And I saw this woman walk around the parking lot. And I thought, here we go. So, of course, she saw me sitting there with the light on doing my paperwork. And she came over and knocked on my door. And she said, would you like some company tonight? And I'm like, no, thank you. I got a girlfriend. Which at the time I did have a girlfriend. And that's one thing I don't do is I don't screw around when I'm with somebody, ever. No way, none. I said, hell no, huh? Well, if you lasted local 5 years, you're doing pretty good. I couldn't handle local at all. But she stood there, and it was kind of chilly out that night. And she's like, well, would you mind if I got in with you just to warm up? And I said, well, I'm sorry, I can't allow that. Because at the time, the company I drove for had a very strict policy, no unauthorized passengers. If you had somebody in your truck that was not authorized, you were fired. Period. End of story. So, nobody in my truck except who could ride with me was authorized by the company to ride with me. So anyway, I said, no, I'm sorry, I can't, So she stood out there for a little bit, and I had my window down, chit-chatting with her. And apparently, what had happened was, like 9 months earlier, her husband had died of cancer. And which is tragic in itself. And I felt really bad for her, I did. And she was a very nice woman. I mean, if she hadn't come and knocked on my door and asked if I want a company, I would have never known she did that, because if you'd seen her walking down the street, you would never know, which most of the time, But anyway, her husband had died of cancer 9 months before, and she had gotten so lonely because they didn't have any other family. All of her other family was already dead. She had gotten so lonely that she was just desperate for any kind of companionship or, intimacy or anything, So she thought, well, I'm going to start doing that. And that's what she did. She started coming to the truck stop, doing some hooking, and she said, I really enjoy this. I do. I like doing this. I get to meet lots of people, and I have a lot of fun doing it, and I make money. I'm like, well, more power to you. I think, this is going to sound political, but it isn't, but I think prostitution should be legal nationwide, like they do in Arizona. Honestly, I really do. But having said that, we'll leave that there. But yeah, she was very nice lady, real nice lady, and I felt really bad for her, but I did flip her a 20 to go in and get something to eat, though. She said, I don't need money to eat. I just want, this is what I do. She goes, I got food at home. I'm like, okay, well, all right. But yeah, I'll never forget that as long as I live. You see people walking down the street and you never know what's going on with them or what they've been through, and a lot of people jump to conclusions and stuff and assume, oh, well, because somebody does something, they must be a bad person. That's not always the case. We have to be careful about things like that. Then there was one time I was at a truck stop in West Virginia, and I had heard this truck stop was notorious for lot lizards. I had no idea. I pulled in there. I backed into a spot, and I was down maybe 20 minutes. Bang, 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 bang. So I got up, see who it was, and it was a lot lizard. You want commercial company? No, thank you. Don't need it. Okay. Off she goes. 15 minutes later, bang, 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 bang. I get up. I look out the driver's window. You want commercial company? No, thank you. Okay. Off they go. 30 minutes later, bang, 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 bang. It happened all night. I did not get any sleep. So I have not been to that truck stop since then. Ever. Even though I drove by it a few times afterwards. Never stopped in there again. I mean, that's got to be the worst place I've ever been for lot lizards banging on the side of your truck. And it's in Morgantown, West Virginia. Just on the south side of town, right next to the river. So if you're ever going through there, I mean, they got pretty decent food, I'll say that. But don't ever sleep there in a truck, because you won't get no sleep. None whatsoever. Or it used to be that way. I don't know if the cops have cracked down on it or not, but at the time. Always try. Oh, here's a good story. When I was driving for Snyder National, you know, the pumpkin trucks. Everybody calls them pumpkin trucks. Here's a joke for you. I'm sure you've all seen Snyder trucks on the road. The big orange trailer, big orange truck, tractor, okay? You know who I'm talking about? Have you ever noticed that on the back of the trailers, in the lower left-hand corner of the trailer, there's a little triangle with blue and white bars going through it? Have you ever noticed that? Do you know why those are there? I'm going to guess probably not. They are there so that the Amish know which side to pass on. Because way back when, before I started driving trucks, Snyder used to be, they used to have all their trucks regulated at 55 miles per hour. That's the fastest they could go unless they were going downhill on a mountain or something. So the joke became, that's why those little blue and white lines things was in the corner of the trailer, so that the Amish would know which side to pass them on. Anyway, when I hired Amish Snyder, when I went to orientation, the guy doing the orientation, he's like, all right, first thing we're going to do is everybody's going to get their jokes about Snyder out of the way, because I've heard them all. Nobody else wanted to crack a joke, so I said, I got one for you. And he's like, okay, let's hear it. I'm sure I've heard it. And I told that joke. And he's like, okay, you win. I have never heard that joke before. And the whole class cracked up, you know. He's like, I have never heard that before. And that is a good one. Anyway, where was I going? God, my mind gets to wandering and I lose where I'm at. What was I talking about before the blue line joke? Can you guys remind me? Please remind me. My brain is not working properly today. was it? My sister says I have early onset dementia, so I'm wondering. Hookers and slow trucks. Been through a lot of that. Anyway. I'll think of it later after the stream's done and I'm like, damn, that's what I wanted to tell them. Yeah. Have any of you ever been to one of my favorite truck stops? And I don't know, I would say this is probably my all-time favorite truck stop. It's a TA, and it's in Walcott, Iowa. Walcott. Look it up. The Iowa 80 truck stop. The world's largest truck stop. Look it up. You'll crap yourself. Yes, it is that big. Anywho, every year they have a truck show and a light show and everything else. I think it's a week long. People bring in their fancy trucks that they dress up with chrome and everything else, and chicken lights and all that. And I'll tell you later why they're called chicken lights if you don't know. Yeah, it's quite the experience. I was there one year for it. But this truck stop is huge. They have a dentist. They have a barber. They have a huge video arcade if you like playing video games, which I do. They have a huge restaurant. They have a chrome shop, which I don't know if you know what a chrome shop is. It's like a trucker candy store. You go in, you buy chrome and fancy and all sorts of stuff to put on your truck. And the lot holds like almost 1,000 trucks. I don't know, 1,000? Maybe, I don't know. They have a trucking museum there. They have a wash bay there, and they have a fuel bay with like 20 fuel islands on it, so that trucks can come in, fuel, get going. And in front, they have a gas station for everyday local people. So if you ever get a chance, if you're ever traveling down I-80 through Illinois and Iowa, stop at that truck stop and wander around in there a little bit. It is quite the sight to see. Yeah, if you get a chance, do it. Because it is well worth the stop. Bob's Big Boys? You know, I've never been to a Bob's Big Boys. I've heard of them, never been there. And I don't know if there's any more around. I mean, Google it and see. Because I'd like to know myself. Well, yeah, I got stuff going on here, so I can't on my computer. I'm sorry right now. So yeah, that is well worth checking out. There's one other truck stop that claims to be the biggest in the world, but it's not. I forget which one that one is because I just put it out of my mind. I don't even know if I've even been there, but I would say here's another little, actually two stories for you. Have you ever been snowed in someplace like for days? I mean, not a few hours, I mean days. This guy. Actually, 3 times it's happened to me. One time in central Pennsylvania, yeah, it happened. Let's just say you guys know what lake effect snow is, right? Yeah, I figured. I was coming out of a place, Lowe's warehouse in central PA, right off I-80. And I pulled back on the interstate, and it started snowing while we were there. And I mean, it was freaking snowing to where I almost couldn't see past my hood. So I had Judy, my girlfriend, with me at the time. We pulled out of there, and we were going to, what's the name of that truck stop? Something Brothers, Samuel's Brothers or something like that. It's a truck stop originated out of Nebraska. I forget, but it's something Brothers. Anyway, had to go up a hill to get into it. I kept sliding back down the hill because I was empty. I just unloaded. Finally, I got to the top of the hill, pulled in. Oh, that sucks ass. But El Paso's not a bad place to break down in, honestly. And I can think of worse places in LA to be laid over, honestly. Got up there, got in there, backed into a spot, took Judy in to get something to eat, and she had to use the restroom and stuff. And when we come back out, we had snow up to our knees. Yeah, it had snowed that much in a couple hours. We had snow up to our knees. We waded through the snow back to the truck, and I'm sure you all know what a pee bottle is, but when you gotta poop, you gotta go in. Because I didn't have a porta potty with me. So we had to wade through the snow to go in and go poopy. Go poopy. It's a space peanut. I'm sure some of you get the reference. But anyway, yeah, we were stuck there for 2 days, a little over 2 days. Another time, I went to Buffalo, dropped off a load. They couldn't load me out till the next afternoon, so I went to the truck stop there, just off the thruway, backed in, woke up the next morning, and lake effect snow had come that night, and the snow was so deep, I shit you negative, I could roll down the window of my truck and reach out and put my hand right on top of the snowdrift in between the trucks. It was that deep. Yeah, I was stuck in the truck for 3 days. Yeah, luckily I did not have to poo in those 3 days. Don't know how I managed it. Well, I didn't eat very much while I was in the truck because I knew what it would cause. And almost every truck driver has a pee bottle. I can about guarantee that. So yeah, and then finally the snow plow came through and snow plowed out the parking lot in the drive-through part of it, you know. So we could break free from the snow in between the trucks and leave. 3 days I was stuck there. Then there was a time out in Wyoming, southwest Wyoming, there's a TA truck stop. And if you ever get a chance to stop at that one, just before you get to Three Sisters, I don't know if any of you know what Three Sisters is, but as you're going across I-80 in southern Wyoming, just before you cross into Utah, there's a place called Three Sisters. It's 3 mountains that you go over. And they're not huge mountains, don't get me wrong. They're not like going over the pass on the other side of Denver. But they're pretty tall. And they call them Three Sisters. Anyway, just where you get to them, going from east to west, there's a TA truck stop on the north side of the road. Out behind that TA truck stop, there's a prairie dog town. So there's always prairie dogs running around the parking lot, picking up stuff people throw out. That's fun. And they're not really scared of people, so they'll come right up to you and take stuff out of your hand. I was stuck there for 3 days because it had snowed so bad, they closed Three Sisters for 3 days. At first it was just change required, which happens a lot out west where you got to stop, put change on to go over the pass. It had snowed so much, chains weren't even cutting it, so they closed the road. I was stuck there for 3 days. Yeah. Had a lot of fun with the prairie dogs, though, when I was stuck there 3 days. Because I had a bag of peanuts, and I was actually, and they were unsalted peanuts, just roasted peanuts. So I was throwing them peanuts out the window, and they were coming over and eating them and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I had fun feeding the prairie dogs. They are cute little shits. I mean, they are a cute little critter, let me tell you. I used to go to this barber at the truck stop in Salt Lake City. Yeah, that's for sure. Damn sure. They were a lot more fun. And cuter too, trust me. Used to go to this barber in Salt Lake City at the truck stop there, that Brothers truck stop. I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. Maybe one of you could look up truck stops in Salt Lake City and tell me which one it is. But anyway, used to have this barber there, and he retired. I was so bummed. But at the time, I was shaving all the time. And I would go in there, and you know in the Old West movies, how when you would see the barber, and he would put the towel over their face and everything, and they'd whip out a straight razor and start shaving them. That's what he did. I loved it. It was awesome. That warm towel, warm moist towel on my face, and then soften up my whiskers real good. Then he'd lather me up with the brush out of the cup, you know, just like in the Old West. Lather you all up, and then he'd whip out the straight razor and go to town on you. It was the best. And then afterwards, he'd put some aftershave on you. And some of it burnt a little bit, you know. I'm not going to lie. It did sting. But it smelled really good. And I'd flip him $25. It was only $10 for the shave. You know. But the man did such good work that I flipped him an extra $15 just to say thank you for the great experience. And then he retired. And 2 women took it over. And they quit doing the straight razor shaves, and they started doing the buzz. They wouldn't use razors at all. All they would do is buzz you with the buzzer, the clippers. And I was so disappointed. I mean, that's what I do now all the time, because I can't shave because I have psoriasis on my face. So I can't take a razor, or I'm going to look like hamburger when I get done. But yeah, at the time, it was fantastic. Until you've actually experienced a straight razor shave, you have not experienced a real shave. I will say that. Yep. So, are my stories entertaining or boring? Or a little in between? Because I got a million of them about driving trucks. I suppose next Saturday I could kind of tell some of the stories of when I was a kid growing up on a farm. But some of that might not be, shall I say, family friendly. Not G-rated. More like, not R, but the next step down from R. I will say a lot of violence when I was growing up. Yeah. Actually, I moved to Florida because of not driving trucks. The first time I ever came to Florida was when my maternal grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, and she ended up dying on July 4th, 1980. That's when she passed away from cancer. She had gotten colon cancer. But that's the very first time I'd ever been to Florida. And I knew then, I didn't know. Very good. I'm loving the pipe tobacco. Matter of fact, I got some more pipe tobacco reviews coming up. So I don't want to do all of them at once because I only have 3 more of them. So I'm kind of stringing them out in between the cigar reviews. The next review coming up is, what's the next one coming up? Hang on. Let me look here. Coming up tomorrow. Quit. Stop. Is Partagas Naturals is the one coming up tomorrow. So look forward to that. Matter of fact, oh, speaking of, I redid the peered tiers on my Patreon. So if you want to check into that, the $1 a month one is you get to vote on polls of what's the next video coming up and things like that. The second tier, you get you get that, plus you get to watch the videos ahead of when they drop on YouTube. You get to watch them ahead of time, ad free, and you get to join the Patreon side of the Discord server. And then the top tier, which is the $5 tier now. There's $1, $3, $3, and then $5. And you get, I'm going to start doing some exclusive Patreon live streams where you can only watch them on Patreon. And member shout out for doing things if you're the $5 long filler level, and the private community and Discord and everything else. So check out the new tiers on Patreon. I mean, you can still be a free member and watch the videos after they drop on YouTube or Patreon, either way, if you're a free member there. No, I have not had it in Lonsdale size. How is it? Is it burning a little hot? Because for me, the Lonsdale size, they seem to burn hot to me. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, the 92 is a good cigar anyway. It really is. Ah, Awesome. Glad to hear it. But I've never had it in a Lonsdale size. I've only had it in like the, um, I think a Robusto size. Anyway, it had a bigger ring gauge to it. I'm thinking about whenever I get to the point where I can cash in my money on Twitch, because I have to meet a certain threshold before I can cash in on Twitch. Think about ordering me a bundle of those factory Corojos that come in a bundle of 50. Oh, speaking of, JR has free shipping all this month also. So, there's that. No, I haven't. I'm thinking of doing one tomorrow night if you'd like to join in. Do movie night tomorrow night. What would you like to see for a movie if we do movie night tomorrow night? I was thinking The Fifth Element, because Tanner's never seen The Fifth Element. Have you seen that movie? Oh, okay. It has Mila Jovanovic, I think her name is, and who was the lead player in Die Hard? The star in Die Hard? I can't think of his name. Matter of fact, he has dementia now. Did you know that? They've diagnosed him with dementia. Not dementia, but well, it's dementia, but Alzheimer's. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I guess he's failing fast too, from my understanding. Yeah, Bruce Willis. That's it. Yeah, he has Alzheimer's diagnosed, and he's going fast, which is unfortunate because I had a great aunt that died of Alzheimer's, and it is a god awful thing. I mean, god awful. The worst, the worst part is, the patient themselves. They really don't know what's going on. It's the family that really suffers from Alzheimer's. They're the ones that suffer the worst. Because the patient doesn't remember who they are, their own kids or their husband or wife or whatever. It is, if it ever came to the point where I thought I was going to get Alzheimer's, if they diagnosed me with Alzheimer's, buddy, 9 millimeter right here. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. And that's terrible. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Not at all. That is just a god awful thing. Yeah. It's a terrible thing. It is. No. Well, Mr. What Now? I want to thank you for sending me cigars and tobacco. I really do. I think I'm going to jump off here because one, I need to go to the bathroom, and two, it's supper time. And Michelle has meatloaf made, and she makes great meatloaf. All right. So I think I'm going to jump off of here. I appreciate you sticking in and everybody joining in and watching and chatting and everything else. I really do. I like doing these. Sorry I didn't do it last week, but like I said, I just didn't have it in me to do it. I just wasn't up to it. Otherwise, I'd have been on. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. So, all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate everybody watching, chatting, coming along for the ride. Had a lot of fun telling stories. I hope you enjoyed hearing them. I really do. So I'm going to jump off here because, like I said, I got to go potty and supper's ready. I will talk to you all later. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a great life. Okay? Let's just go with that. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye now.